There was once a day that I would pray for you. I'd go and misbehave just so you'd notice too. Sneaking looks up and down from across the room. Damn, what a hell of a view. I feel good, you look great. I like you, I can't wait. Our first time, our first date. You're so fun, I'm so late. You sip wine, I drink straight. Don't waste time to my place. I feel
Come on, I see you, bro. Be careful, though. Be careful, guys.
you got it all on tap. I'm loving your vibe, always have
Recap of the Peachtree Road Race that happened on July 4th. That was my second 10K of the year, and it's the first time I've ever run 2 10K races in 1 year. Normally the only 10K race I ever run is the Peachtree Road Race, but I ran a 10K here in Savannah back in May, and that course was pretty much flat. And I ran it faster than I'd ever run the Peachtree before, but then this year, I actually did proper training for the Peachtree, which I've never done before, which included long runs and easy runs and tempo runs and hills and intervals, and I ended up getting a PR. Not just in the Peachtree Road Race, but it was my best 10K race ever. And if you run the Peachtree, you know that there are some significant hills. I was able to run those hills, no problem. I even had a lot left at the end. I probably could have pushed a little harder, but I was trying to be conservative, and I already knew I was probably going to get a PR at that point. Very proud of what I was able to accomplish in that race. And I know a lot of people, they just run the race because of the experience, and I run it every year. This is my 9th time running it, so I've had the experience. I've run it slow many times, most of the time. I mean, technically as fast as I ran it, this time was it was slow compared to the elite runners that finished in less than half the time that took me to run the whole thing. But I'm not comparing myself to them whenever I'm trying to look at my progress, because I'm never going to run that fast. It's not my goal. That jingling you hear through the whole video is my little buddy Bruno, where I took him out here on a walk on the Savannah Ogeechee Canal Trail, and his collar has 2 little charms on it that jingle together. We always know where he is. It's kind of like a little cowbell, but I'll let you see what he looks like. You want to say hey for the camera, Bruno? He's exploring. He's never been out here before, so he's having himself a good time. So what's next? Well, I decided I wanted to run a half marathon. I've run 2 half marathon races before, and didn't really train properly for any of those, and I didn't feel like I ran good races with those. The first one I ever ran was the Albany Half Marathon down in Albany, Georgia. I was student teaching at the time, so I really was not prioritizing my running. I was really probably getting 1 run a week. Thought that might have been enough. If they were long runs, I still never reached the full distance. Come on, buddy. I never reached the full distance before I got there, and then I had to walk most of the way on probably about the last 4 miles, so that wasn't good. And then my second half marathon I did last year, it was the Atlanta Half, which is significantly harder than the Albany Half Marathon because of the elevation. It was in downtown Atlanta, actually all around Atlanta. So there were some hills, and the worst hill was 10 miles in. You come out of Piedmont Park and you look up and you just say nope, especially if you hadn't trained as well. And I didn't really train for that one. I thought I was putting in some good miles before that one, but I had no plan. I just decided on when I'm gonna run this half marathon. So this half marathon, I decided I'd give myself actually train for it, and it's also going to be a little bit difficult. So first step was to get a training plan. So I found one online. It's the Hal Higdon 12-week advanced plan, which I might end up regretting this because it's advanced, so there's a lot of running. The good news about that is it's mostly easy runs. 3 out of the 6 runs per week are just easy 5K runs. And you got a tempo run every week. You got either intervals or hills every week. And you got your long run. Now, I think what's going to be interesting about this, I'm going to try and make weekly videos about my training and how that's going, because I'm a teacher and it's summertime. So training for the Peachtree is pretty easy because I'll have to go to work every day. And this has been quite an easy summer. I'm not doing grad school anymore. Not having to move like I did last year. And it's been pretty easy to get long runs in and do intervals and run hills and do tempo runs. But next week, got to go back to work. And the training plan is not going to start until we get to 2 weeks from now. So the second weekend of work. So I'm going to have to find my way doing an advanced training plan and running pretty much every day of the week, except for the way I've laid it out, or the way I've laid it out from the plan is running every day of the week and taking my rest days on Fridays. So that'll be interesting. School's going to start pretty soon. And then there are some races along the way that it wants me to run a 5K race. I think, about 4 or 5 weeks in. I've already signed up for a 5K race in Hilton Head for that weekend. And then there's also supposed to be a 10K race and a 15K race, but there are none anywhere close to us on those dates. So I'm just going to run those, do a little time trial somewhere around town. But that's how it's going to work, and I'll try and keep everything updated. I know it's definitely going to get a lot harder whenever school starts and we're in the thick of football season. But that's what this channel is for, so that I can hold myself accountable. And if anybody starts following or subscribing and commenting, then you can watch it and you can hold me accountable as well. If not, then at least I'll have this documentation of my training.